Hi, you guys. This is episode 5 of Video Couch, and I am your host, Celeta. Again, welcome you to the Video Couch show. Now, as you know, in episode 4, we recapped over everything. We talked about um, our belief system, how to set it up in our minds. We talked about how to handle different situations. We talked about journalizing our feelings. We talked about the grief letter. Now we also left and we ended episode 4 with talking about our, my mind just went blank. Wow. Um, Talked about, excuse me, our communication skills. Are you passive? Are you aggressive? Are you passive aggressive or are you assertive? And we broke them down in our body language, how we look at a problem, the whole 9 yards. And I came with the discovery that in certain areas, I am passive aggressive and I am assertive. Um, I thought that was fun, and I think that's something I really need to make sure we get that out to you guys. Be able to go and check that out. I'm going to set up some online forms so you guys can download them on the page from the page. Now, um, today we're going to discuss, and we're going to continue on this because this is very, very, very important. We're going to continue talking about dealing with ourselves. This is a new year, and we want to start off this year in a good way. And if we can't get all the gook out first, then we can't move forward because it's going to interfere with what our goals are or the changes we want to make in our lives. So our mindset has to be changed. So we're basically dealing with the mind and the emotional part of who we are and the psychological part. Okay, so let's talk about the recipe for today is going to be the lemon blueberry muffin. Okay, you're going to need blueberries, sour cream, and lemon, and then eggs, butter, milk, flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt. Now, you need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a half a cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 1/2 cups of fresh or frozen blueberries, a half a cup of sour cream, 1 egg slightly beaten, a half a cup of milk, 6 tablespoons, tablespoons method, melted butter or margarine, 1 teaspoon of grated lemon peel, and 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. This will make you 12 muffins. Now, first thing you do is line a 12-cup muffin pan with paper liners. Combine flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt in a medium bowl. Toss berries with 3 tablespoons of flour mixture in a small bowl. Coat it well. Then it says preheat oven to 400 degrees. Whisk sour cream, egg, milk, butter, lemon peel, and lemon juice in a large bowl. Add the flour mixture to the bowl. Mix just enough, just until it's moistened, and then gently fold in blueberries. Spoon batter into prepared muffin cups. Bake until a toothpick is inserted in the center, comes out clean, or until muffins are golden brown. About 25 minutes. Place pan on a wire rack to cool. Last but not least, turn muffins out onto a rack. Serve warm at room temperature. Again, something that you can eat while you drink your coffee, hot tea, hot chocolate, and a cappuccino. I'm going to keep that list just like that. Okay. All right, you guys. So that is called a lemon blueberry muffin. Wow. Okay. Now, let's get into something that we know very much so is so hard. Godly, it's so hard. And that's our decision making skills. Okay. Now, as you know, decision making it can be very hard. Any decision involving some kind of conflict or dissatisfaction. It says the difficult part is to pick one solution where the positive outcome can outweigh the positive losses. Avoiding decisions often seems easier, yet making your own decisions and accepting consequences is the only way to stay in control of your time, your success, and your life. So we have to understand that. And this is dealing with decision-making skills. Now, a significant part of decision-making skills is knowing and practicing good decision-making techniques. Because without the skills, you have to have a technique in order to work those skills. Now, main decision-making techniques can be summarized in following these decision-making steps. First of all, identify the purpose of your decision. Why are you making this decision? What is exactly the problem to be solved? Why should it be solved? Okay, those are the questions you need to ask. Then you go and you gather the information uh, to follow up why you're making this decision, or it's the grounds for why you're making this decision. What factors does the problem involve? Okay, then identify the principles to judge the alternatives. What standards and criteria should the solution meet? Think about it. What should it meet? Brainstorm and list different possible choices. Generate ideas for possible solutions. Brainstorming works best if you have a way to get your ideas out of your head. Write them down on paper first and foremost. I told you it's all about writing down things. And if you just keep writing as many possible without judging them yet. Don't take time out just writing them. Write them down, write them down. Why am I making a decision to to leave my job? Okay, what gives me grounds to want to do that? Am I unsatisfied in the job? Do I want to start my own business? Um, do I think I can get a better job somewhere else? What are the reasons why you want to make this decision to quit your job? Now, also identify principles to judge the alternative. If the In order to take a decision to leave my job or quit my job, what would be the surrounding circumstances to make me do that, and are they legit? Do they have a leg to stand on? Okay. Is there a possibility that because I'm dissatisfied with my job, can I make it better by working out some other technique to make sure that I don't have to make that ultimate decision of quitting my job because I'm dissatisfied? Okay, those are the things you look at. Okay, look at the different choices you can make. Get promoted if you want to stay on your job. Move around in the office. See if there's something else that you would like to do um, before you make a decision to ultimately quit the job altogether. Okay, then it says evaluate each choice in terms of its consequences. What would happen if I quit my job? What would happen if I decide to move in another direction, stay in the job, but move into a different office or different position in the office? All that has to be set down, evaluated, and then see what the circumstances are. Will it all be a positive move or would it be a negative move? Then you have a decision to determine the best alternative. This is much easier after you go through the above preparation, as you go through the steps. Okay, put the decision into action. Go talk to someone, put your paperwork in, and see what happens. Evaluate the outcome of your decision and action steps. Okay, once you've made that decision, is it something that you want to stay with? Do you want to change it? Do you see something that could be done differently? All of this takes place and everything, all these things can really, something that you really want to talk about. So let's do this again. Let's go over the steps and techniques. Again, there's 8 of them. Identify the purpose of the decision, gather the information, identify principles to judge the alternative, brainstorm and list different possible choices, evaluate each choice in terms of its consequences, determine the best alternative, put the decision into action, and last but not least, evaluate the outcome of your decision and action. Okay? Those things are very, very important. Now, let's talk about goals. This is our decision. And what are our goals? What and once you make those decisions, this is another thing too you have to look at. What are the pros and cons? Put it together as what are the pros and cons of the decisions that you're going to make. Okay? How would they benefit you? How would they benefit the whole outcome of what you're trying to do? Okay? That's how you have to look at that one. Okay? Now, the next thing we're going to talk about real quick is what we call goal planners. Now, there is an acronym called SMART, and we're going to discuss what SMART means. SMART means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Now, when we set a goal, these are the things we have to ask. Specific. Is my goal specific, stating specific information? M for measurable. Is my goal measurable either regarding time, money, or other resources? Attainable. Is my goal something that is important to me or someone else? Realistic. Is my goal realistic to fit into my life right now? Timely. How have I set a time frame in which to accomplish my goal? Those things are very, very important when you're talking about a goal and planning it. Now, these are the questions that you have to ask and answer yourself. What is my goal? What is my time frame for my goal? When do I want to have it accomplished? Having a deadline is important. These are the questions to answer. What resources do I need? Do I need to break down my goal into smaller parts? Do I foresee any obstacles that I may face when trying to accomplish my goals? And what is planned to overcome them? Then we talk about our obstacles and coping strategies. And that's the reason why when we go back to decision making, all these coincide and connect. Identify why you're making a goal. Gather the information. Identify the principles to judge whatever else happens if these goals do not work. Brainstorm and list different possibilities of choices that you can make dealing with your goal. Evaluate each choice in terms of its consequences. How, if I do this, what will happen? Determine if there is a best alternative to that goal. Put the decision into action because, like I said, I'm connecting these together. Maybe they don't go together, but I'm connecting them. Evaluate the outcome of your decision in action. What is the end result of your goal? Okay? And I think that's very important when we do that. Okay? And once you set that goal, you accomplish that goal. Do you want to reward yourself? Because you're entitled to rewarding yourself. Not much, but there's several things that you can do to reward yourself from once you set that goal, meet it, and move on. Okay. Now, please forgive me, you guys. I am not tired. I'm just like, wow, I cannot believe I did that. Okay, I know what it is. I need to sit straight. Sit up straight like this. I'm sorry, you guys, but that just went through my mind. Now, we just talked about a goal planner. Let's talk about setting your goals. Now, did you know there's a such thing called backward setting goals? Your short-term goals, steps to long-term goals go on. The way this is set up is that your short-term. I'm trying to see if you can see this. Can you see this? There we go. Get it out for light. Okay, this right here. Did I do this right? Can you see that? Okay, let's see. There we go. See? As you can see, this is what we call setting goals backwards. Okay? And what you want to do is, in the big space right here, you want to put your main goal. And then all these little spaces right here are going to deal with how would you do it. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter how you categorize it as long as you put them there and make sure that it's going to equal to this big goal. Say that you want to be a doctor. Okay. First of all, you have to go to school. You have to have the money to make sure you're able to do it. Um, um, okay. Having all the resources. Then, and it doesn't matter which way you do it, telling your family, getting your family involved, or whatever. And you can put that there. And the ultimate goal is to become a doctor, do your residency, and all that. So that would be your ultimate goal here. So I think these worksheets are so awesome. Um, I guess I don't need a blank one for that one. I got that. Okay. Now, Now, this is what I did with mine. I said my big goal, long-term goal, with investigating other opportunity courses that apply to me in my future business plans, because as you know, I want to do my business. So I said talking to someone in the department about co-opting opportunities, getting info from small businesses, and sustainability to the department, or whatever I decide to do. It says fill and exploring the whole website, making sure I'm looking at getting all my research, exploring career centers on the university website where I actually went to school. Make sure that I meet all my appointments if I have an appointment with like our small business association. Um, do my research. Also, the last thing is investigating. Um, and reaching out and creating websites, reaching the rescheduling and dealing with a website. And then that would be getting to this ultimate goal right here. So this right here was very, very interesting. Now, we're going to, I hope you guys understood what I just did. I just showed you, and we just talked about SMART goal planning, which is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely measurements that we need to use to do a goal planning. Okay. We talked about decision-making techniques, which are very, very, very important. And the next thing we're going to talk about real quick is we're going to talk about, I'm sorry, I keep using the word I apologize for that. I've never broken that habit. And when you're doing speeches, you're not supposed to say I I'm sorry, my lighting is a little off here. Just a little. Yeah, that's much better. There we go. Okay. Now, that's much better. Okay. Now, so let's talk about sleeping. Oh my God, do we need enough sleep? Yes, we need sleep. Sleep, 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 sleep. Let me sleep. Let me sleep. Let me sleep. I just want to sleep. You know, and sometimes we can oversleep, and then sometimes we don't get enough sleep. So, let's talk about the um, different things that we can use to get a good night's sleep. First of all, I want to talk about why we need a good night's sleep. Let's talk about why we need a good night's sleep. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm being honest with you. I am so sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Let's talk about sleep. Um, okay. When you don't get enough sleep, people who don't get enough sleep, it affects every part of their lives. People who do not realize that if they don't have a healthy sleeping pattern, that it affects their jobs, their personal lives, um, and their social lives. when they don't get enough sleep. I know people who, like, I know for sure that I'm a night person. So majority of the stuff that I do it at nighttime. Should I be asleep during that time? Yes, I should be asleep. So what I've done is I've set my I take my phone and I set my schedule for me to stop what I'm doing and take my butt to sleep. Okay, that's what I do. Um, I do that because if I don't do it, I will be up all night. And sometimes I still suffer where I don't go to bed till 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I do that. Am I doing anything? Not in particular. It's just that I can't just fall asleep. Now, as you saw, when you're yawning, everybody thinks that you're sleepy, but sometimes I yawn by the way that I sit in my chair. If I'm sitting slumped over like I do sometimes, which is very, very, very improper way of sitting, it's bad for my posture, it's bad for my back. I find myself cutting off my airway when I'm slumping down, which makes me yawn because I'm putting a lot of pressure or muscle to make sure that I'm breathing. I mean, it's not showing, it's not like I have a hard time breathing. It's just that my inside is not getting that open expansion that it needs so it can breathe. I mean, so that the air can flow through it. So if the air is kind of cut off, you get tired more. I mean, your body just kind of like, okay, she's not going to let me get this air, so I'm just going to make her yawn to get her attention. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But I think it has a lot to do with the way we sit and cutting off that breathing or that air being able to go inside the lungs. So I have to learn how to sit properly, which is straight with your back against the chair. Okay, and which is very hard for me to do because I've been sitting so long slumped over. And the bad benefit of slumping over um, is getting a like a little hunch right here in the back, in your back, right along your neck area, because you bowed your body over so. And people with self-esteem issues tend to lean forward, and I talked about that in our communication style. They seem to lean forward and hunch over when we don't have to do that. We can stand straight. We can sit straight. We don't have a problem. We just got to get out of habit. Maybe we should get like a seat belt and make us sit back in our chairs so that we won't slump, you know? But anyway, that has a lot to do with your sleep. When you feel like you're tired all the time. So you're off balance with your sleeping. You're either tired in the daytime or you're tired at night. Um, So because we don't have a accurate or a steady sleep pattern, our body is screaming all over the place to hey, shut down, just shut down for a little bit. Let me get some sleep. And it's just, to me, I think if we don't get the proper amount of sleep, they say 8 hours. What I've learned is this is what I do. If I go to bed at 11 o'clock at night, excuse me, I have to drink. I have to drink. Okay. If I go to bed at 11 o'clock at night, if you say 8 hours worth of sleep, that's 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 hours worth. That's 7, 8. Wait. So that means I get from 11 to 8 is 8 hours. Let me make sure. 1, 2, let me see. 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, that's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm supposed to get up. That's 8 hours. Okay. Now, most of the time, I don't get up at 8. In around 7. Sometimes I have to get up early because my body wakes me up. So in my mind, I might be having the proper sleep, but in reality, I'm not only sleeping for about 5, 6 hours at the most. At the most, I get in about 5 or 6 hours worth of sleep. Okay, and it usually does me in. I mean, it works for me. Doesn't mean it works for everybody else, but it works for me. Now, let's talk about how when we have sleep disturbances, because I know we do. I know I do. If I hear something or somebody comes in the room and turn on the light, yeah, I'm gonna wake up. It says when sleep disturbances has been present for a long time, people develop habits of strategies that, while intending to help sleep, ends up getting in the way. Similarly, uh, people develop beliefs about their sleep that may not be helpful. Okay, we talk about the belief system again. The group will help you examine and change thoughts and okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to read that. How can learning calm breathing help me? How can that help me? Breathing affects the way we live, we feel. If we're anxious or frightened, we breathe faster to fuel our bodies for action. If we're relaxed, we slow down our breathing. We can feel more relaxed and less anxious, stressed by slowing down our breathing and focus on the breathe out. Okay. Um, when you want to calm breathe, because I know we all go through the whole thing of wanting to calm down and breathe, just breathe. Sometimes we get so worked up that the sleep won't come, even though we want it to come. It's not coming. So we need to learn how to breathe in order to stay calm so that we can relax and get the adequate enough sleep. We need to take a normal breath in through your nose and close. Hold your breath for 5 minutes, for 5 seconds. Exhale slowly through your nose with your mouth closed, letting all the air out of your lungs while saying silently to yourself a word you find relaxing. Um, Pause for count four and then take the next breath in. Now, this is things that we can do on a daily basis. Um, Relaxation, being able to put our day to rest. In other words, uh, let's not try to solve everything in one day. You can't do it. You can't do it. It says early in the evening, think about your day. Write down in a notebook any concerns or worries from that day. Anticipate what might come to mind in bed tonight and write it down. Write a to-do list for tomorrow. Use this time to feel more organized. Close the notebook when you're finished. That's early in the evening you do these things. It says at bedtime, remind yourself that you have already dealt with worries and concerns. If new thoughts come up, leave the bedroom and write them in a notebook. Focus on positive thoughts and memories in bed. Don't focus on a bad day. Don't focus on that you got hollered at your boss. Don't focus on that you had an argument with your husband. All of that, if you have a need to really let that bother you, write it down and put it in your notebook and leave it alone. Do not go to bed with all that on your mind. Please don't go to bed with all that on your mind because you will not get the sleep you want. Um, a good way of doing this too is to put together a routine, a sleeping routine. Um, do the same thing every night so that your mind can start uh, making it a habit. Use the same relaxing routine every night, an hour before your bedtime. This will give your brain into a habit of expecting sleep to follow. Be sure to choose activities that are calming and relaxing, not ones that are energizing or take too much effort. Now, I'm going to tell you, I confess, this is what I do. I don't know if you've heard of the game Mohawk. I think that's how you say it, Mohawk or Mojang. It's a Japanese, almost like solitaire. Well, I do one bad habit. I go to bed with the TV on, but my TV has a timer on it, so it'll go off automatically. So then the room is quiet. But the problem I have with that is I'm still playing this game. But this game is a calming, relaxing game. And after a while, I do fall asleep. And I do feel, I notice that I sleep better once the TV clicks in and goes off on this timer. I don't take the remote and turn it back on. I don't. That's a good routine and a habit that I've gotten. And it took me a long time to get to that, even though I go to bed with the TV on. Now, this game that I play, it's on my computer, and we'll talk about that too in a few minutes. That's a no-no. Matter of fact, we will definitely talk about that right now in a few minutes once I finish saying what I'm saying. So, I play this game till I get tired. And then when I get tired, I go to sleep. So it's not a good thing, but it helps me get sleep and I get an adequate amount of sleep. I get the sleep that I want. Okay. Now, oh wow, we're down to 1 minute. Um, Using electronics before bed may hamper your sleep. That's what it says. It said TVs, cell phones, computers appear to be affecting quality slumber time. And this is a survey that was done. And this was done by a Health Day reporter. It says sleep tight but not right after looking at something bright. It says that's the message of a new survey that suggests that many Americans might be losing valuable shut eye because they spend the hour before bedtime in front of an electronic glow of a television, cell phone, or computer. Wow, I am so guilty of this. It says the survey doesn't prove that exposure to bright light before bed disrupts sleep, but some experts would recommend an electronic curfew an hour before bed when people should dim lamps and avoid checking their email or watching late night TV. I am guilty. Okay. Falling asleep isn't like flickering a switch. We don't put our heads on the pillow and fall off to sleep. It says a sleep specialist and professor of psychology at University of California. We take time to wind down at night. If we've got bright light conditions, we're not giving ourselves a chance to get off to sleep and stay asleep. It says the National Sleep Foundation Annual Sleep in America poll, whose results were released Monday, which I don't know what day that is, surveyed 1,500 people between the ages of 13 and 64. Overall, the survey suggests that a majority of Americans aren't getting enough sleep. 63% said their needs aren't being met during the week. 95% of those surveyed said they use electronic devices such as television, computer, video games, or cell phones within an hour before bed at least a few nights a week. After two-thirds of the people aged 30 to 64 frequently watch TV in an hour, much more likely than older people to send or receive text message on their cell phones in an hour before bed. Sometimes I'm talking to people late at night, and I am definitely guilty about that. The problem is that the light exposure before sleep can disrupt body rhythms and suppress the release of hormones or melatonin, which promotes sleep. Okay, um, but does it actually hurt sleep? No one's proven that yet, but it seems more than tempting to speculate fairly and strongly. It says a sleep specialist at Harvard Medical School in Boston said that the issue of light before sleep is complicated. Not all kinds of light activate body cycles in the same way, and a little bit of light, such as from a TV at a distance, might still cause a problem. Yeah. Also, we are very different in our sensitivity to light. I have on rare occasions of patients who were light toxic, in that if they got bright light late at night, they couldn't sleep at all. Contrast that with patients I have who sleep with lights on and TV on routinely and don't have much problems that they can feel. What can people try to do to sleep better? It says, try to stick to a fairly regular wake time. Get bright lights in the morning and dim lights at night. Exercise regularly and have a bedtime routine of 30 to 60 minutes when you're letting yourself wind down. If you don't sleep well but can't bear to tear yourself away from the TV or computer before going to bed, dampen glasses which will filter out the most damaging light. You can try them to see if they would like take the light lower and you don't have to have the bright light of the television and the computer right on you. My habit, and I like to talk about what I go through because I need you guys to see that it might not be the same as what you go through. I sleep with my laptop in the bed. So I can just flip it open and it's right in my face, which does not make any sense, but I do. And I play my game until I go to sleep. I mean, that's what I do. It says people should be aware that it may not be the light of the cell phone or the computer that triggers sleep problems. It could be anxiety produced when you say read an email that makes you angry. So that's simple. Okay. Don't read your emails till the morning time. I wouldn't read my email. So that is just some of the things that we're talking about. I think we went over our time today talking about sleep. Um, and we're not finished because in episode 6, we will definitely, in Video Couch episode 6, we will continue with the sleep therapy. Um, and I want to hear why you guys can't sleep. That would be so excellent for you guys to let me know why you can't sleep. All right, we got that out the way for right now. Discussing that, and we will be coming back to this again on episode 6, you guys, dealing with your sleep patterns and how do you sleep. And I want to get more information on that, okay? Well, you guys, I want to say thank you for listening into Video Couch. If you want to email me at SeletaBMcCall@gmail.com. Golly, wow. Let me say that again. I'm sorry. It's SeletaBMcCall@gmail.com. And again, this is Video Couch with your host, Celeta. I want to say bye-bye.